So the first paper of this session is Cyber Threats and Supply Chain Management with Fourth Industrial Revolution, 4IR. The paper ID is 1138. The author name is Dr. Windo Hasnin. So I think I could pronounce your name correct, right?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. So I would like to invite you to start your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me share my screen. I hope you can see my screen.
Okay, so we can see your screen, Cyber Threats and Supply Chain Management with 4IR. We can see.
Yeah, okay.
You can start your presentation now.
Thank you. Great. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you very much for this opportunity for giving me this time to present my work on cyber threats and supply chain management with Industrial Revolution 4.0.
Sorry to interrupt. We have 15 minutes for each presenter, so please try to finish within 15 minutes time.
Okay, sure.
And we can have 3 to 4 minutes for question answer session afterwards.
Sure, thank you. So I will be discussing about supply chains and how it has affected by the Industrial Revolution, basic security challenges in supply chain, and finally, how we can secure the supply chains. So as you know, any supply chain has different stakeholders like suppliers, consumers, wholesalers, and so on. And also it involves different raw materials, manufacturing plants, distributors, and so on. So there are different stakeholders and different processes like buying, selling, manufacturing, storing, distributing, and so on. And there are 4 main elements in the supply chain: supplier and his assets, customer and his assets, which should be secured to have an effective as well as a well-delivered supply chain in any industry. Supply chain, the supplier supplies a product or service, and the products supplied by them are supplier assets. And customer is the person who consumes these products just like us, and customer also has their assets. Since there are different industries, for any supply chain, the customers, the suppliers, the distributors, or their resources, like it can be hardware or software, it can be products, or it can be a software, and these can be stored in cloud or different local data centers, and they can use different distributed mechanisms to distribute these products. Like they can use online stores, they can use web applications, they can use different advertisements, and also they might be using different management softwares, especially ERP systems. So because of this, depending on different industries, the things or the stakeholders and different products involved in supply chains varies a lot. And with Industrial Revolution 4.0, as we know, a lot of technologies have been introduced to make the industrial processes more efficient and more effective, and it has affected the supply chain as well. For an example, supply chain has been digitized because we are using more and more software things and making the supply chain more effective. For an example, we are using machine learning and artificial intelligence to predict the demand, to predict the supply, and to make the supply and demand more balanced. And at the same time, we are using sensors, IoT, to make the products more effective and to make the manufacturing process more effective. Robotics also being involved. And at the same time, to secure these supply chains, we are using emerging technologies such as blockchain, cloud technologies, and so on. Of course, these technologies provide benefits to supply chain. They make the supply chain more effective and efficient. But at the same time, these products or these emerging technologies themselves bring a lot of challenges in terms of securing supply chain. If you look at the security incidents, security challenges in supply chain, as you see in this diagram or the figure, almost all the sectors, industries have been affected by the supply chain cyber threats. So this reports the number of incidents in different industries. The highest number of incidents happened in public administration and government institutes, in industries, the cyber threats, and digital service providers. And here we have the healthcare, medical, because they have a lot of information and data. So all these industries have been affected by security issues, especially cyber security issues. When it comes to supply chain security challenges, we can divide the security challenges into two: physical threats and cyber threats. Physical threats have been there like for a long time, ever since the supply chains were introduced. For an example, counterfeiting. All of us might have faced counterfeiting, buying fake products, and there are like thefts and illegal distributions. People buy these products and try to sell them for less prices, and some people try to tamper the devices. So all these are physical threats for supply chains which have been there for a long time. And according to US statistics in 2022, handbags and wallets have been the victims of fake devices, and then apparels, watches, all these products have been victims of fake devices or counterfeiting. With the digitization of supply chains and modern supply chains, they face cyber threats as well. Not only physical threats, they are facing cyber threats as well. According to ENISA, European Institute for Cyber-related research work, 66% of these cyber threats targeting the supply chains focus on suppliers' software, suppliers' code. And 58% of these attacks targeted to access the data of supplier. Most importantly, 62% of the attacks rely on malware, which is like malicious software. So as you see, not only the physical threats, cyber threats also have become a most challenging security aspect for supply chains. And if you look at the life cycle of supply chain cyber attacks, attacker attacks a single point of the supply chain, but since it gets exposed, it will affect all the supply chain. It can affect the supplier's products, it can affect the distribution part, and at the final stage, it can affect the customer. And according to ENISA statistics, there are different techniques used by attacker to compromise the supplier side of supply chain. Mostly they have used malware, malicious software like spyware to steal the credentials. And also they have used social engineering. They might try to pretend to be someone else and try to gain the information like passwords, credit card information, phishing and fake applications type of things. And brute force attacks where attacker try to guess the user password and guess the web login and so on. And also they have used exploiting software vulnerabilities, because many software have different vulnerabilities. If the software is not up to date, not patched, these vulnerabilities can be exposed by attackers. Likewise, these are the different techniques used by attacks on the suppliers. The unfortunate thing is the attack techniques used by the attacker to compromise the supplier in 66% of the case is unknown. Since it's unknown, it's really difficult to be ready for the future incidents as well. And 16% of the incidents had happened where the attacker has exploited the software vulnerabilities. And they have targeted code, data, and processes of the supplier to attack the supplier. When it comes to the customer, attacker has used trusted relationship to gain information of the customer and attack the customer, especially targeting the data. And also like phishing attacks, malware infection, even physical attacks, trying to attack the customer physically and gain the information. So these are some of the attacks that can happen on customer. And about the statistics, trust abuse or the compromising the trust, 62%, And using malware is one of the most ways that attacker has used to attack the customer. And attackers have targeted customer data and even people and financial resources of customer. So here I am presenting three prominent supply chain attacks that we have seen in the very recent past. One is SolarWinds supply chain attack, which an attacker used a malicious software or malware to attack a very popular software called SolarWinds or Orion software, which is a network management system used by very big companies. An attacker first attacked this software and gained access to this software. And through that, attacker has gained access to the systems that is being used, the systems or the companies that are using this network management system. And the second attack is Ledger supply chain attack, which targeted Ledger software. Or like Ledger is a hardware wallet technology for cryptocurrency. If you are familiar with Bitcoins or cryptocurrency related things, you might have heard this term Ledger software or Ledger wallet technology. An attacker has gained credentials to access the Ledger's database, and through that, attacker has targeted to attack the other aspects or other things that use this Ledger wallet. And the next attack is Kaseya. It's a ransomware. Ransomware attack, Kaseya attack. Kaseya is a service provider which provides remote monitoring and management tools. Its clients are being used by different companies to monitor the network and to do the server administration. In the Kaseya supply chain attack, what attacker did is to attack the Kaseya software and encrypt all the data through the software and ask for money from the people who are using this software so that attacker will decrypt the data and give them back to the clients. So clients had to pay a big amount of money as a ransomware to get this data back decrypted. These three are most recent incidents that happened in supply chain, especially cyber security aspects. And as you see, threats are very challenging and number of threats are increasing. So if you look at how we can secure the supply chain, traditionally for physical threats, people have used CCTV cameras, physical security guards or locks to manage the headquarters or the manufacturing plants and to manage the physical storage locations. But nowadays, we are being using more technical things like universal product code or electronic product code, radio frequency identification tags, near field communication tags, or recently we are using more and more quick response code or QR codes. However, all these focus on physical threats, but when it comes to cyber threats, we have a lot of things to do more, and people are focusing on two different aspects: providing cybersecurity frameworks. There are different work proposed by research communities, and also like professional institutions such as National Institute of Standards and Technology of US. They are providing cybersecurity frameworks targeting supply chains, how to secure them. And commercial aspects like commercialized products, cybersecurity evaluation tool, cybersecurity audit program also help to secure supply chain. But the amount of research work has been carried in securing supply chains against cyber threats is very minimal. So there are a lot of things that you can look into. And some people are working on cyber risk management aspect of supply chains and how to secure supply chains by assessing risk and mitigating risk. There are research work that has been carried out and also standard defined by professional institutions such as Information Technology Security Guide publication number 33. We simply call it IDSG3, and NIST guides and Financial Industry Regulatory Authority report, especially targets financial institutions such as banks, and also commercialized products and tools such as eCentire Cybersecurity Maturity Assessment Tool, a Network Cybersecurity Assessment Tool, and Cyber Threat Suspectability Assessment, which is developed by Mitre Framework. So all these works are there, but there are a lot of vulnerabilities and different challenges in cybersecurity aspects of supply chain that you can look into, and you can find your own research avenue there. So since we have limited time to summarize my brief presentation, I discussed about the overview of supply chains and how IR4 has affected modern supply chains, and physical threats and cyber threats in security challenges in supply chain, as well as finally, how we can secure the supply chains using traditional approaches and different research venues. So if you have any questions, I would be happy to answer your questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Windo, for your nice talk. We are sorry because I did not have the biography, but let me introduce her to the audience. Dr. Windo is a postdoctoral research fellow at the Canadian Institute for Cybersecurity, University of New Brunswick, Canada. Prior to joining CIC, she was an assistant professor at the Faculty of Computing, Sri Lankan Institute of Information Technology, Sri Lanka. Dr. Windo received her PhD in IT and Communication in 2017 from University of Pompeu Fabra, Barcelona. Dr. Windo was a visiting researcher at the IBM, International Technology Alliance, and Imperial College London in 2016 and 17 respectively. Her research interests are network security, cyber security, and software-defined networks. Dr. Windo has published her research work in numerous journals and conferences. She is an IEEE senior member, and she has served for different international research communities as a reviewer, advisor, and an executive committee member. Currently, she serves as the chair of IEEE Women in Engineering, New Brunswick Section, Canada, and secretary of IEEE We Power Committee, and secretary of IEEE Women in Engineering Marketing Committee. This is her brief biography. So let us give her a big hand for her nice talk. Now, if any audience has any question, please feel free to ask. We have microphone. You can request for the microphone.
Hello, my name is Arifin Khan. I am currently working as research and development head in Innovation Garage. So my question was that the total presentation was on supply chain management. But if we think really that nobody wants to interrupt other supply chain except when it is about the financial transaction. We in Bangladesh, we face a lot of obstacles when we digitally transfer money. So when supply chain management, our main problem occurs when we are paying different vendors. And there comes the problem when the transaction is made. So is there anything that we can develop that a vendor, when I am making a transaction to him, or it is authenticity, to check out the authenticity of the supplier that I'm making payment. Otherwise, the supply chain management is physically it's occurring the right way, but the main problem is the financial transaction, and we are way more insecure in banking sector and other sector. Even I didn't open the online facilities for my bank account because there might be some problem in, I don't know, who may hack my account and get the money. So I am just asking if there is a secure process to make the payment to the vendor. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the question. Actually, it's a good question. So it has different aspects when it comes to securing transactions. For an example, people are using blockchain these days to securely store the transaction details. And as you might already know, blockchain provides transparency as well as traceability. So the transactions are transparent to the authorized people, and as well as you can track all the processes, which is known as traceability. So the transaction platforms are using more and more blockchains to make sure these two characteristics are there, transparency as well as traceability. And that's for the payment platforms. But at the same time, as you said, there are other security challenges like social engineering, because people can pretend to be someone else and try to get your card details, PIN numbers, and so on. So that's one of the major aspects up to the customer, where customer has to be aware of cybersecurity challenges. So that's why we are encouraging more and more cybersecurity awareness programs, so that clients know that these things can be happen. They can get fake calls, they can get fake emails. To be in safe side when they are clicking on an email, clicking on a link. So that's one aspect, securing your customers using cybersecurity awareness. And for the platform, as I said, people are using blockchains. Since I'm in Canada, I have the experience in Canada. Most of the financial institutions in Canada are transforming their platforms or migrating their platforms to the blockchain-based systems, so that it has transparency and traceability. Maybe it will become a norm for all the financial institutions to have the blockchain, so that it's more secured. I hope I answered your question.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your nice answer. So is there any other question from anyone? Dr. Saiful Islam, he's our session co-chair. He has a question. Okay.
Thank you very much. It was a good presentation. I'm from material science background, so I just have I have just one question. It's not regarding related to cyber threat. It's related to supply chain management, whatever we say, digital or so. It's something that, as I say, due to fourth industrial revolution, for that we know that advanced robotics, autonomous systems, additive manufacturing, it's all are involving day by day. Hopefully will involve in our country as well. So in our country, we have many people, 16 crore around. So it's a middle income country. So for our country, so it's a labor cost, the industry is moving from developed country to other less developed country, whatever. So is for middle income country, so this to involve this 4IR and this labor involvement, what do you think? How can we incorporate this thing in our system?
Yeah, so actually, I'm also originally coming from Sri Lanka, which is a developing country. So I also have some experience in these aspects. From my, this is just my opinion. According to my opinion, like all these new recent technologies, especially targeting the materials, as you said, the products or the tangible things like Internet of Things, and also like these days people use PUF, physically unclonable functions, which targets to secure the raw materials or the products. Involving these technologies more and more make the supply chain more secure, because from my opinion or my experience, in other countries, especially developing countries, the most challenging part is to secure the things physically. Like we have a lot of problems with counterfeiting, thefts, illegal distributions, and so on. So if we target physical threats first by using these new technologies to have RFIDs or sensors or like PUFs, the initial part of the supply chain will be more secure, and we can move to the second part of the supply chain, which is cyber threats, easily by first securing the initial part of the supply chain. So I totally agree with your opinion. Like we have to use these technologies, and it's not easy because some people don't believe on these technologies and they are reluctant to use these technologies. But I think we have to move in that way.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ruindo, for your Nice answers and a nice talk. So let us, I think, okay. So another question from, please introduce yourself and ask the question.
Yes, sure. Thank you. This is Hassan Mahmood, Senior System Analyst, Bangladesh Agricultural Research Council. Actually, I have a very specific question. In this presentation, we have seen that there is some kinds of reference of attacks, like maximum attacks is some unknown sources or unknown reason actually, and some few is shown due to some software vulnerability or some kinds of things. So is there any reference of this data or some kinds of source of this data? This is one thing. Another thing is, so can we work, or is there any work to dig down the unknown parts? So maybe there can be some open ports or lack of OS hardening, or maybe any kind of backdoors or other phishing things. Well, maybe is there any other things? Because unknown thing is not good actually. We need to find out what is the unknown part. So that's my question. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. So these statistics are from the ENISA report. I will share the link with you all. So it's if you search for European Cybersecurity Institute or ENISA, it's ENISA. All these statistics are from them, and they have conducted this survey trying to come up with let me go back to this. So all these statistics are from there. So they have identified these attack techniques, and as you said, like they have interviewed the people who have been victims of attacks, and the problem is even some of these big companies, they have tried to do reverse engineering and try to do different techniques and try to see what was the attack technique or what was the problem. But unfortunately, in 66% of the cases, it couldn't be identified. From my experience, one fact for these unknown parties, because most of the attacks are not a single attack. Like we know there are different kind of attacks, phishing, malware, ransomware, and denial of service, man-in-the-middle attacks. There are different cybersecurity attacks, but most of the cases, attackers use one or two or more attacks combined and attack the network or attack the system. In that case, it's very difficult to detect what was the attack type because it's a combination. Sometimes attackers steal the password and use that and then carry out a DOS attack. So when we have combined attacks, it's very difficult. And that's why in the 6% of the cases, they couldn't identify what was the attack. But in some of the cases, like 16%, they directly identify this is the vulnerability of the software and it has been compromised. So that from my personal opinion or personal experience, since attacks are combined and a lot of attackers, like we have these advanced persistent threat groups where different attackers from around the world are combined and they do the attack together, it's very difficult to detect the attack. And as I said, all these statistics are from ENISA report. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention the link. I will maybe send the link in this chat.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for your answer.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Windo, once again for your nice answer session. And now let us give her a big clap for her nice presentation and Q&A session. So
thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity, and especially Celia, madam, I can see her there. Thank you very much for inviting me, and it's a great pleasure.